Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I'd like to welcome you to a 5-part series I am running on the Bard and Compliance, how Shakespeare informs your compliance program. I recently completed the study of some works from Shakespeare from the Teaching Company. The Teaching Company is one of the top organizations in the United States which provides first-rate college professors lectures both in audio and video on a wide variety of subjects. So, for instance, on Shakespeare, Peter Saccio has Shakespeare, the Word and the Action. Mark Connor has How to Read and Understand Shakespeare. And then one of my personal favorites, once again, Dr. Peter Saccio, Shakespeare, Comedies, Histories, and Tragedies. If you're a lifelong learner like I am, you will greatly enjoy the Teaching Company. You can check out all of the Teaching Company courses at theteachingcompany.com. The podcast in this series will include how Henry IV, Part 2, informs lawyers and compliance, how Henry V, Part 5, helps you understand utilizing social media in a compliance program. Through Much Ado About Nothing, we consider how you design a social media program for your compliance program. We use Othello to look at the clash of corporate cultures. And finally, in King Lear, we take a look at my favorite character in all of Shakespeare, the Fool, and how PowerPoints can be the death knell for an FCPA corruption investigation. It's a fascinating exploration and way for you to consider a wide variety of compliance topics. This special 5-part series of The Bard and Compliance, how Shakespeare informs your compliance program, is a special bonus presentation of the Compliance Podcast Network. Today we consider Henry V and designing a social media campaign for your compliance program. Most people remember the St. Crispin's Day speech in Henry V as one of the greatest speeches in all of Shakespeare. However, many people do not focus on what led to the speech, which was that Henry went out amongst his troops, disguised as a commoner, to ask what they thought and to hear what they had to say about the upcoming battle with the French. One of the most important things that Henry learns is that his men, while willing to do their duty and they all believe they will die the next day in battle, most particularly because of the overwhelming size differential in the two armies. Henry takes this information and incorporates those fears together with the English patriotism into the rousing speech he gave before the battle, which led his men to victory. I'm a huge fan of using social media in your compliance function. CCOs and compliance practitioners often ask me how they could begin to get their arms around how to structure a program for their company. In an article in the MIT Sloan Management Review entitled Finding the Right Role for Social Media and Innovation, Deborah Roberts and Frank Pillar reviewed companies that were not deriving significant benefit from their customer-facing social media efforts. I found their discussion of the potential remedies as a useful tool to help CCOs design an internal, company-wide social media campaign. After acknowledging that social media focuses on the social aspects of the communication, I think the most important thing to remember is that communication in social media is two-way, both inbound and outbound. It can help bring your employee base together in an efficient manner to create an environment conducive to compliance for your organization. It also has the benefit of continued engagement. It is more than putting on training or even having a compliance week set of initiatives. You can continue the conversation and enthusiasm about compliance going forward. The authors break this down into 3 parts that emphasize: 1, the need to listen to and learn from user-engaged content; 2, the need to engage and facilitate dialogue with employee innovators; and 3, to find an audience of early adopters to create excitement and collect feedback. No doubt inspired by some fond childhood memories, the authors monikered their 3 concepts as Camp Explore, Camp Create, and Camp Communicate. Camp Explore. This is the method the authors suggest of how to generate employee insights into your compliance program, where activities are designed to extend the breadth and depth of how organizations search for innovation, even in the compliance arena. The key is that the compliance function must be listening in a manner which they have not previously utilized before. The authors note you will need to learn to read signals from large, diverse, disconnected, and unstructured pools of data generated by users. In addition, they will learn to analyze and convert blog posts, tweets, and user-generated content into valuable insights for new ideas and new compliance services. Compliance professionals will need the skills of both a social scientist and a data scientist at Camp Explore. This is because compliance practitioners will need to assimilate, combine, and utilize data from many different sources literally across the globe. You will need to acquire skills in computational techniques to unveil trends and patterns within and between the various data sets. The overall award from Camp Explorer is to sharpen business acumen and teach how to communicate those findings to those involved in compliance projects. Camp Co-Create. If your company has matured past Camp Explorer, the next step is Camp Co-Create for companies to know they actively want to engage and involve employees in the innovation process around compliance. The overall goal is to be more collaborative and to allow employees to be more involved in the design process. As a CCO or compliance professional, you will learn how to engage, identify, and select the right participants and develop the right incentives to encourage their participation. Creativity is both an input and an output of the co-creation process. Managers will also develop skills in relationship building and gain expertise and experience in the art of conversation and dialogue, a key aspect of collaboration. Managers will learn how to become better facilitators and community managers. One of the important factors is to visit the unconventional users to help facilitate the creative process. Here, social media itself can be a powerful tool, facilitating a two-way communication street to allow the compliance function to hear and even see what businesses and other types in the field may see and hear. The model of involving employees for in-house innovation has always been useful to help buy-in and acceptance, but the authors also found that the more diverse participation in the creation of the process can provide a richer developed process. Camp Communicate. This learning camp focuses on the most obvious uses of social media to communicate and tell a story. As social media becomes even more an integral part of people's lives and work, people have come to expect communication about products and services via social media channels. Social media can also afford the compliance function the opportunity to interact more directly with its customer base, i.e. company employees, in a manner that is far more engaging than the old command and control approach. If your goal in the compliance function is to create awareness and publicize your compliance program and initiatives, social media can be a powerful tool for you. Indeed, it should be a core activity. Through the use of social media, your compliance function can not only tell the story of compliance, but also communicate expectations and even train. Once again, it is simply more than a one-way tool using social media, as it facilitates a two-way communication. Just as employees are more apt to tell you about a concern immediately or sooner if they have trained on that issue, they may well communicate directly with you after having received social media communication on subjects such as the management of third-party relationships. However, there is a cautionary note. Many companies are approaching social media as they approach the dot-com boom of the 1990s. Companies are embracing technologies, but more often they are simply following the herd. In the case of social media, they embrace whatever social media sites and strategies that are in vogue without developing a coherent strategy for tying their social media activity to their risk management profile. Simply having a Facebook page, creating a brand community, or having a social media page to get dedicated to a new compliance launch will not, on its own, improve a company's compliance performance. Chief compliance officers and compliance practitioners need to develop a dedicated compliance strategy around social media in the context of your corporate objectives and your risk profile. Just as Henry V gave one of the most rousing speeches in all of Shakespeare, basing it on the input he received from his men, you can take the input from your employee base and create a compliance experience that they will all embrace. Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox again. I'd like to thank you for listening to this special episode in my 5-part series of The Bard and Compliance, How Shakespeare Informs Your Compliance Program. It is based on a series of lectures that I listened to from the teaching company on various aspects and topics